reports from the ground in Edmond just as soon as we get our folks dialed in. We have reporters on the ground, photographers, of course, gathering information, getting video of the damage that we have seen so far. And, of course, our storm trackers are as well. And as you saw from Bob Moore Chopper 4, that damage from the Kearney area, the rural areas where there were some homes that were really wiped out in that area.
Jesse Wells is standing by. He's been looking at some of the aftermath. Jesse, show us what you've got.
Well, Linda and Kevin, the house behind me will basically tell the entire story. This home may have been the first that was hit during this afternoon's tornado outbreak. You can see the roof on this home basically completely ripped off. The homeowner was inside when that tornado went through. Edmond police stopped by recently and said that here in Edmond, there were about a dozen homes, maybe just less than a dozen homes that were damaged in this tornado that went through town. This home, though, they say is the worst of the bunch. Mostly in Edmond, we've seen a bunch of trees down, power lines down, that sort of damage. But again, out here, this roof was completely torn off. Basically, when the tornado came through, it came straight overhead, knocked over a lot of the roof into the neighbor's yard. And then actually, if you get behind me, you can see the track that this tornado took. You can see the distinct mark here in the trees as that tornado went overhead. Again, Edmond police say, luckily, at this point here in Edmond, there are no injuries to report. That, of course, is the best news of all. The homeowner in the home here behind me, that again may have been the first that was hit this afternoon, also said he escaped without injury. That is always good news. We'll have much more on all the damage later on the evening. Back to you guys.
All right. Jesse, thank you very much. I was over in that area. I live not far from there, and I was talking to you on the phone, the damage I saw, and it looked like EF1, FE1, however they term it, damage. So not too bad there, but it was still scary.
Shawnee may not be so lucky to read. Timmer is reporting at least 45 houses damaged, some of those destroyed. He says they have major damage. Several people were ejected from their vehicles on I-40. That's why the search and rescue crews have been asked to go to that area. And also the need for emergency personnel in sections of Shawnee. We're continuing to follow that and have crews there as well. Let me show you some of the pictures that we've been getting in this afternoon that you've been kind enough to send in. And we appreciate the pictures, but always ask that you be careful. Lance West took these pictures around his neighborhood. If my notes are right, this is around 15th and Bryant, 33rd and Bryant.
Yeah, it's down around Old Farm and in Spring Hill, in that area there. You folks who live in Edmond, you'll recognize some of these places. Big old trees torn up right there as well. This is probably in the Old Farm area, and another shot of that tree right there. We have some shots of the funnels too that went through Edmond. We might see those in just a minute. But as Jesse was saying, a lot of this is tree damage and some minor roof damage, although that one home is going to need a lot of work to get that roof repaired.
A friend who lives at 33rd and Bryant said a lot of the roofs around the neighborhood were damaged or destroyed. This is from the Oklahoma Sheriff's Office. This was taken near Northeast 234th and Dobbs in Luther. As you know, the storms that moved through Edmond then took a path through Luther and that area, doing damage, as you can see right there.
Look at somewhere. That's some of that hail. That was in Blanchard. That's larger than golf ball right there. So those storms, there's some bigger than quarter size right there as well. That from Oklahoma City. So these tornadoes, of course, always bring with them a lot of falling ice from the sky. And so it's every insurance company's nightmare, and roofing companies, of course, don't like it, but they definitely make a living off of this in this part of the country.
And, of course, as we said at the top of this, if you're just now joining us now, word of perhaps the first fatality in the storm coming from the area around Dale, Oklahoma. That's the initial report. The Red Cross is confirming they've received word of a fatality. We have crews looking into that situation and hope, if it is indeed a fatality, it's the only one, because we've had some very severe storms.
And we were talking about people being ejected from their cars, and unfortunately that tornado, that big wedge that Emily was following, as well as Reed and John Welsh and Bob Moore Chopper 4, looked like it was going right down I-40, which you know is a very heavily traveled highway here in Oklahoma, as is I-35.
And if you're traveling through the state and don't know Oklahoma, they can just pop right down on top of you. Mike Morgan, you've got more news.
Well, we do. I tell you, the bottom line is right now there's one tornado on the ground, and it's likely an F4 tornado. And it's this one coming into northwestern Fusky County right now. It's northwest of Payton. It just missed Prague on the north side. That's good, but it's heading up for Welty and IXL. Highway 48, southbound out of Bristow and northbound out of Okemah. This could be an F4 tornado right here, still quite large. And let's go ahead and go to the North Doppler and take a look at the velocities, and you can see the bullseye configuration. Here's Fusky County right here. There's Welty, there's Bristow. So this is a large tornado on the ground. I think it's really intensified here in the past few minutes as it lifted temporarily and then bounced for a while down by Prague, north of Prague. But I'd say Welty and Highway 48, the rural areas up here, it's pretty rural in through here in IXL, which is a small community south of Bristow. You folks, if you know anybody there and you think they may not have good access to a television or a radio, and they might possibly live in a mobile home, you need to somehow find a way to get a hold of them and tell them that they have to be out of the way or underground. When this thing comes through northern Fusky County and southern Creek County, I'm 100% positive, there's no doubt about it, they've got to be out of the way or below ground. Storm cellar, safe room, interior closet or bathroom's not going to cut it. This is a big, big, violent tornado right here, and Reed Timmer is still on it, so we'll be talking to Reed. He's been in and out of the bear's cage and all that. He's still on it, and it's a big tornado, and it's heading for Welty. We do not want to have this thing go plow through one of these smaller towns and have somebody not know about it. So northern Fusky County, southern Creek County, south of Bristow, north of Okemah, that easily could be a half-mile wide plus F4 plus tornado traveling through all of northern and northwestern Fusky County into Highway 48 and the Creek County line. That's where it's heading. That is a big, big tornado right there. Now, I think let's go to Bob Moore Chopper 4 Live. He is backtracking with damage over by the Fire Lake Casino. This is what Reed told us about earlier, and now John's showing it to you live. Go, John. And yep, he'll come back. This is I-40 near 177. Go, John, you're live.
Yeah, I-40 and 177 right here. As you can see, we have troopers on the way. We've got 2 semi-trucks.
And we'll stay here with John. The signal will come back. This is 177. That's the crossover there, it looks like, and I-40. Okay, you're back. And it'll come back. We'll stay with this, but this is the significant damage over by the Fire Lake Casino and just on the northwestern sides of Shawnee when that large barrel tornado that Emily was showing you and Hank Baker was showing you and Reed was showing you when it was crossing I-40 there at 177 and I-40. Let's go back to Emily Sutton here live with an update. Emily?
Mike, we're heading east on I-40. We're about 5 miles west of Highway 377. We're driving through some very heavy rain. We've had the challenge of outdated radar, but we'll keep going this way. We're heading towards those tornadic storms that are north of I-40, and we have not seen any debris. We're just going through some very heavy rain right now.
Emily, appreciate that. Troy Christensen passing along. More debris now falling out of the sky 2 south of Bristow. So the debris is now being carried up to near Tulsa. It's in the jet stream aloft, and there's debris now all the way up to Bristow falling out of the sky, and that is from these tornadoes, probably the one that's still on the ground northwest and north of Payton and west of Welty, or it could be debris from Shawnee. But there's debris now literally falling out of the sky in the southwestern suburbs of Tulsa. From these tornadoes right now. So the Turner Turnpike may have debris actually in the road. Let's go back to John Welsh and Chopper 4 Live.
Yeah, Mike, right now, Highway 177, you can see that semi-truck is teetering on that overpass. It's actually about half the cab of the trailer is on the overpass, and as Travis will pan to the right, one completely got blown off the overpass, and there it is. There's its contents. That's the truck. As you can see, the damage to it, and there's a trailer. And in the top left of your screen, you're seeing another Suburban that has heavy damage to it as well. Highway Patrol's out here on scene. Look, I just now see that black car, that black pickup truck right there in the bottom left of your screen. We'll get around on it. It looks like it got smashed by the truck as it got blown over the overpass. So the wind here, this is no joke. When we say get off the road, get in your area, this really is. And just to your left, as Travis will pan that way, we have another semi that's laid on its side. So a total of 3 semis right here. Go to your left, Travis. 3 semis here right there are completely gone. And then we'll zoom out here just a bit, and we're going to pan up and to the left, and we're going to show you some trees that are damaged. There looks like a concrete plant here, and some houses has heavy damage. This was right there when we were talking. You know, we said it was like north of 3W right there on I-40. This is where it was at, and this is definitely the damage that it did. As Travis will continue to pan to the left, you'll see the trees that are messed up and all the houses. I mean, this thing just grinded the whole tops of the trees off here, Mike.
John, appreciate that. We just really literally want to stay with you. There are two things here that are the most important thing. What has happened and what is happening right now. So we're just simply going to go back and forth between the two. So let's go. I'll tell you what, let's go back to John here. This damage is quite extensive. John, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, it is. You know, this is one way you can tell from the air that it's a tornado. Everything's twisted. A lot of your straight line wind or some microburst action that happens, everything's just blown onto one side. But you can see those trees, and those are some pretty good sized trees that are ripped up in this housing addition. If we'll pan, Travis will pan back out and go to the left. There's some houses right here on the end of this road. We have fire crews there. It looks like they're going door to door just to make sure everybody's okay. And we'll kind of stay right here in the area. I haven't been flagged down yet, but I'm always watching just to make sure that, you know, nobody's down there that's injured that we might be able to help. But this whole little area, everything looks like it's, hang on a second, Mike. I got you. Yeah, everything here in this area is on at least an acre, so the houses are pretty spread out and just debris everywhere. And just north of this field, probably half a mile, there's debris and house pieces. But some of these houses are completely gone. And most of them look like they're, you know, just your standard brick over frame, you know, stick frame roof construction, asphalt shingles that are completely damaged. So this is where it touched down and continued to head to the east. I'm not seeing any damage more to the east here, just north of 177, or just east of 177 rather. But as you can see, this little neighborhood right here took a definite hit.
John,
hey, Travis, pan out and go to the right.
John, where from I-40 is that?
Yeah, from I-40, it's I don't know, maybe a mile and an eighth from I-40 377. So I guess the next road, I'll zoom in here on my GPS, see what the next road is. But it's just, yeah, just a mile and a quarter, and it's just going to be east of 177 here. So definite damage. You know, seeing all this, it's lucky everybody got to make it out okay. And I would think by now we would see some ambulances or something if something did happen. But it looked like they heeded and they took their necessary storm precautions and were prepared for this area right here. But they're diverting traffic. Real quick, if you're westbound on I-40 headed like towards Oklahoma City, they're diverting traffic around. Traffic's fixing to start really getting backed up here in the Shawnee area. So definitely, like Kevin and Linda talked about earlier, if you're trying to be a looky-loo, I would, you know, just stay in your house and don't clog up the roadways because you want to see the damage. Let emergency crews and everybody else do that for you. But as you can see, this neighborhood here, Kevin, there's not a house that's not hit. I'm sorry, Mike. There's not a house that's not hit.
Okay, that's from John Welsh there live. We're going to come back to John. Let's go to the weather show. And we have still ongoing severe weather in areas. They're trying to get east of our viewing area, but there's still some areas here we have to talk about. New warning here, severe thunderstorm warning for Kay County right now. Let's go to the storm tracker. And there's a little bit of lowerings on these from time to time. There's no organized, you know, well-balanced spinning motion. But they do have some kind of stretched out mesocyclones with them. But there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. That's talking about Blackwell, Tonkawa, Ponca City, and Newkirk. A little bit of a spin west of Tonkawa right now. Another little bit of a spin near Blackwell, but kind of stretched out. Not to say they may not produce some large hail. They sure could, and they are severe with a lot of intense lightning. And they're moving to the east-northeast at around 30 miles per hour.